Welcome. Today we are at the Нэст High School of Mongolia podcast. Where we are interviewing Jон Kleyvэр for him to share his experiences through his work and personal life. Hello, John. Could you please briefly introduce yourself to us?
Certainly. San Bano and San Bets Gnu. So, many near Jон Kleyvэр, and basically I'm an Australian and very pleased to be invited and hope I can share some of my experiences with you all.
Thank you. So where did you study?
My education, I studied obviously in Australia and in various parts of New South Wales, which is one of the states of Australia.
Yeah.
So my highest qualification is through the University of Sydney. That's a Doctorate of Philosophy, PhD, in physical chemistry.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks. And my undergraduate was basically a Bachelor of Science with honours in inorganic chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the way through to that degree, I effectively studied chemical engineering and law on the way through.
That's amazing. So where do you currently work?
Currently work at Толгой. So I have the pleasure of actually, as you know, working with some of your family members and doing some coaching across the business there. So my profession, it's interesting, I had a question about what is my profession earlier. And although I'm a trained chemist, if you like, by formal qualification, I would say my profession is probably more around business improvement and leadership capability development and building a problem-solving culture. So the profession sort of grows as you tend to go through your career.
So how does your current work benefit Mongolia and its people?
It's a very, very good question. So, I think it's obvious to most people that when we say we work for Толгой, people would recognise we're building one of the biggest copper mines on the planet. So there's the obvious benefit for Mongolia in terms of money and revenue that comes into the country. But the benefit that I guess I enjoy the most, and I think is the longer running benefit, is developing the people. So it's about the capability of people to not only run the mine and then build a world-class operation, it's the ability to problem solve and put their energies and skills to whatever they should choose to put their skills to.
Yeah, that's amazing. So our school is an IT specialized school, and do you think mining companies require IT personnel?
Oh, absolutely. And IT, I guess it impacts us in every aspect of our lives and every aspect of work and life in general. So IT for a mining organisation, when you think of IT not only as the infrastructure and as the physical components of your laptops or your wiring or whatever it might be, IT is really about gathering data. And the importance of that is it gathers data so we can make decisions. And we can make the best decisions in terms of operating the business or finding opportunities to improve. And behind all of that is effectively IT infrastructure. It's also the analysis and the software and everything else that comes with IT.
Yeah.
So it's integral in our work life. It's integral in society.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think are the advantages of being Mongolian and the disadvantages?
What a difficult question. And you can ask this, I guess, of any society and any culture in the world. But for Mongolians, I think it's exciting. You're part of an emerging economy. Yeah. So for myself, we've come from an economy that's fairly standard and anglicised and fairly settled. Mm-hmm. Here, like the future is bright. So the youth of Mongolia have a real opportunity to make a difference and to support the country to grow. Yeah. So for me, that's really exciting. It's very exciting for Mongolian youth as well.
Yeah. So what areas do you think Mongolian young people need to improve personally to become a globally competitive workforce?
This is another good question. So for me, it's about, my opinion, and I've been here 4.5, 5 years, so I guess I've watched a little bit. Yeah. And I think it's the ability to really embrace diversity. So it's this component of like embracing sort of ideas and not thinking that you already know it based on quite a small sample size, if you like. So how do you open yourselves up to new understanding, and how do you sit back and listen to understand, and build those sorts of skills and capabilities to to not only embrace the future, but do it knowing that there's a lot you have to learn. And there are ways to go about learning those things as well. That would be the best sort of improvement advice I could give there, I think.
That's amazing. So, what do you think were your most important lessons, and what key skills did you gain while you were in high school or university at work?
Good question. You learn so much as you go through life, and I think the underlying comment I'd make is that you continually learn.
Yeah.
And so each opportunity from youth to the grey heads sort of thing, it's basically to continue learning. So some of the things I've learned is to, I guess, understand that it's okay to make mistakes. You know?
Yeah.
To take on life as an opportunity to learn and embrace change. Don't be afraid of change. In fact, to really understand that change is actually good, because that's part of you growing and developing. And in terms of specific skills, the social soft skills are often underestimated. So you can get technical skills, and some people will just focus on technical skills. But you don't want to sit in a room and only learn technical.
Yeah.
And a big part of life is the social interactions between people. So we're fundamentally community-based as human beings.
Yeah.
So the skills to interact with others and help others work that way is the key lesson for me.
I absolutely agree. So, what would you recommend or say to Mongolian high schoolers who are graduating?
Stay true to yourself, actually. Would probably be, that might sound a little bit broad, but when you graduate, it's still early. It's early days, and to not put pressure on yourself to think that success is defined by narrow boundaries.
Yeah.
So look to the future. And it's common to the mistake discussion we had before. Yeah. It's okay, in fact, it's almost essential to make mistakes and learn from them. And when you leave, realise you have a long future ahead of you. And changing and swapping, exploring different things is actually really good. So don't be too hard on yourselves. If you don't know what you're going to do day one when you leave high school, that's actually okay. And I'd probably prefer that for some people, to be honest.
Yeah. So, what are your tips for high schoolers choosing their professions?
It's an old saying, but it's still true to me. It's like, try to find something that you love. So try to find and do something that brings you joy and happiness. And then they will say you've never worked a day in your life if you do something that you love. And it's actually really, really true. Mm-hmm. And fame, fortune, all those things that we put on ourselves as for whatever reasons, they're not actually that important. If you're doing something that you love, then you will enjoy your work life for the rest of your life. So again, stay true to yourself and seek joy and happiness in what you do.
Yeah. Thank you. So, what's your favorite part of working at Ayutthaya?
Definitely the challenge of the people. For me, the technical aspects of it, I guess I've done it for many, many years. So I'm comfortable with the technical side. Yeah. And the challenge for me was to work with a different culture. And it's to understand the culture and what it brings for my own personal growth. But it was also to give and share what I've learnt over the years to help people be the best they can be.
So exchanging cultures.
Exchanging cultures and being empowered to do that as a teacher, if you like. Has been fantastic.
Yeah. So, you said there were many opportunities for Mongolia youth to grow and develop the country. So, what do you think are some possibilities, and where can it grow? And
in a sense, it's ironically it's the IT space. It's one of the very obvious ones for me. And we've actually built the Mongolian Development Centre here in Ulaanbaatar. And there was a really good reason for that. It's the strength of this sort of the youth here in a sense, and sort of certainly our educated IT professionals in Mongolia. That's a very high capability and high quality. Yeah. So that tells you that it's a real opportunity for Mongolia to keep building on that. And in terms of obviously between two large powers, Russia and China, you have that real opportunity to be not just a mediator, but a mediator in finance and a beacon, a light of behaviours and all sorts of opportunities in that space. So I see Mongolia as very well positioned to grow and expand out and be the lighthouse for the region.
Yeah, I agree. So thank you for joining us here today with Jon Kleyvэр as our guest, and I hope that you've learned a bit of his experience, and goodbye.
Thank you very
for
much.
Coming here.
A pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.